Hey folks, this is B-Fly Bricks, and in today's video, this is my 501st AT-TE mock. It is, of course, based on the chassis of the recent official LEGO Walker set 75337, so if you have that set, then you can use it as the basis for this mock as well. As with all my Star Wars mocks, I'm aiming for as near UCS style details and features, but based on a playscale version of the set. Also to mention, this isn't my LEGO set, this is my youngest son's, and he is a 501st Clones mega fan. He just loves it, he loves Captain Rex, and he wanted a 501st Walker, which doesn't actually exist, so we made our own. And a key improvement of the mock that he wanted to include was for it to be able to carry more troopers. So not only does the mock look more accurate on the outside, it carries 10 troopers on the inside, 7 in the back, 3 in the front, and then there's the driver and the gunner up top. So for the purpose of this video, I thought it would be a neat feature to actually show you a half and half of the Walker, so you can see just how much I've modified the set. On the left is the original and on the right is the 501st. And you know, LEGO did a great job with the set, but to me there's some real glaring issues. But mostly that's because of limitations on piece count that LEGO have for a set like this, as it would just be too expensive if they go into that much detail. But as you can see here, the Walker has a nice smooth exterior surface, its middle legs are also quite round and bulbous, so those were a few things that we wanted to make sure we get right in this mock. In the last series of the Clone Wars, we do see what looks like a blue 501st AT-TE, but we can't be sure. But of course, fans online have made up graphical versions of it, so that was something I looked at, and also looked at the cross-section Star Wars vehicle book, which does have a pretty good drawing of it, which is useful. But as there's no canonical 501st version out there, I have to have a bit of artistic license in the colour scheme and things like that. So I've stuck with classic blue, light grey and white accents. The official LEGO version is based on the Walker we see in Utapau in episode 3, and it is really stud heavy. It really bothers me. You know, this angular shape and these gaps, it can be covered up easily and it should really be tiled. But of course I understand why they didn't do this, it would just make it too expensive. Like I said, the main leg is fine, but it just needs to be more rounded and colour swapped. So in my version, I've swapped out a lot of grey for blue and white, the top axle cap is done using those curved white bricks, and the middle is risen by 2 studs with those round plates. The other 4 shorter legs just lack detail, and I've added a white and blue parts, especially the feet pads. And you can really see the difference in the opening side panels here, much thicker and way less gap. I did use 501st stickers on blue tiles on this front section, and I used a 3 stud long one at the back here on either side. These are from an older 501st AT-RT from 2013. I don't like the grey Republic sign, so I swapped it out with white ones. But I do like the stickered panels here, which are used for door pieces from the other LEGO set, so I've made them higher and put white grills on top. Here you can really see the difference. I also put some angular grey tiles in the middle section here, and I've tiled around the rear cannons. So it's quite the transformation, I hope you'll agree. Looking at it complete, I think the blue and white works perfectly. At the rear I used white wedges, and my idea was to have this white line of tiles running along the body. I think it works really well and goes with the round white tiles in the middle leg. I also tiled the bottom section of the door hatches. It makes a sort of blue T design. I think it's cool, really quite happy with how that looks. I needed 3 triangular grey tiles on each side panel to get that smooth look. I also used them on the section below to cover more studs, so you do need quite a few of those triangular tiles if you want to do this, and they are somewhat hard to come by sometimes. The feet use the same white curved bricks, and I put blue slopes instead of grey for the feet. let's take a closer look at the leg here. So I made it more curved, I made the main leg white instead of grey, and I have filled in the middle gap with a white brick to make it a bit stronger. It is meant to have a gap, but I like the white. Around the front, I used lightsaber hilts and ski poles to make the main bars, and pickaxes on the side bits. To me it looks way better, and the real thing has this sort of angular bull bars on it anyway. The main gun up top, I used the controls that were in the rear before and totally colour swapped this build and took away the stud shooters. The handy thing is, it means the gunner can hold on to this as well. He's a great looking figure, that helmet printing is brilliant. For the gun, I used a stickered piece from the old 2013 AT-TE build, and I used the stickered sloped pieces from the recent 501st Speeder from the battle pack, and the main gun has a bit of white as well, so it's just a wee bit different. The main cockpit, driver section, looks great tiled in blue, and my son likes this clone figure we've got a lot, so I used him as a driver instead. So let's take a look inside. These panels open the same as before, but inside I've expanded it slightly to take a 6x6 stud plate, which serves as the seating for these dudes. There's a wee handle to pick it up from. You might recognise these guys from the battle pack from a few years ago. They have jetpacks on their backs. For the inside, I've tiled it white and used a 2-stud tile at the back, which holds the seating in place. Here you can see it a bit better. It is a bit tricky to get big hands in here, but the kids managed just fine. The rocket troopers sit back to back on this, and that means there's space for their jetpacks. They don't have any actual seating, but they fit nicely in here, and I have to say, this is one of the best play features of the LEGO set. You know, these opening panels and troopers inside, it's such a cool play feature. And these panels, they do come off easily. They're just held by one pin, so all I did was add a layer of tiles, particularly the 1-stud overlap on the top. That means you can cover the gaps that appear normally. So the inside of the panels, the build is exactly the same, it's just the exterior that needed sorting and smoothing off with tiles. Now for the rear section, I love this bit. It's great because it really does open out, the top opens and the sides, and you can get your hands in. And as you can see here, we've got 7 troopers on this seating block. There's also a wee handle on this one as well on top. And similar to the front, I used white tiles. I used the 6-stud long ones as they're stronger over this width, because there's Technic frame underneath here. You do have to be careful at the front section not to prevent these 2 bars from being able to move. These troopers just sit on half-studded tiles, spaced apart by 1 stud, and the back 2 face the other way. That means their arms don't touch, and it all fits together perfectly. Here's what it looks like without them. So you get an idea of just how big this space is, and obviously as it's tiled, it's much easier to get in and out. I didn't bother with weapon storage. We find it a bit too fiddly and it takes up too much space, and you can also put the smaller guns in their hands anyway if you want. But when we're playing, we put the guns on them once they're out of the vehicles and ships, etc. We kind of set it all up, so it doesn't really matter not having them inside the vehicle. There is still a minor gap, but it's nowhere as bad as it was before. Overall, I think it looks great with the tiling and it's far more accurate. One of the best things about the original set is this Commander Cody figure, and we love the 2/12 coloration, it's very cool. Incidentally, I actually have some older airborne troopers and 2 regular ones from a battle pack from years and years ago, but as you can see, we're still 2 troopers short of 10, so we've got to use the 501st because we've got loads of those ones. We have also got the recent Battlefront 2 set with the heavies and the specialist, But for this mock, we wanted to have just the standard 501st Troopers. I also have this random 501st guy with the blue arms. He's from the old school AT-RT set, and I'm actually going to use him in an updated AT-RT mock for the future. And this old AT-RT, just like the new one, is huge, and to me it just doesn't work. It's way out of scale, but it's a cool set though. Oh, that was a great era of Star Wars. There was plenty of clone stuffs back then as well. And that old AT-RT was really nice though, and it did have some great stickered pieces, so I've ended up using them again, which is really handy. But this new one, it's still cool, just too big. But I like those stickers too, so I kept the sticker sheets from one and used those on the tiles for the walker instead. So it's quite a handy reuse of those stickers. The speeder bikes had this curved slope on the back, which I used. Again, these speeders are just enormous. I also plan to make a much smaller version for the clone base we're working on in future too, so check that video when it drops. We love the new Republic tank, especially the clones that came with it. They're brilliant, but just not enough of them unless you buy a lot of these sets. And I wish they really did actually have a battle pack for these guys, that would be great. So all in all, it works out really well that we've got plenty of 501st Troopers, and that's the kind of mock we're going to do, a 501st Walker. Oh, and just to show you the difference, this was the original version in the instructions. I'm sure you can see quite how significant the new version is, lots more going on in there. But hey, it's still a great set though, one of the best ever LEGO official walkers they've ever done. It's really, really good. But you know, I hope I've made it a wee bit better, improved its playability, make it look more accurate and certainly more smooth looking. So yeah, that's it for the 501st AT-TE mock. We loved doing it, it was a lot of fun, it wasn't really that difficult. In the future, I am making a 3 base plate large clone base, and this walker will be part of that, and it'll dock with it, it'll have some kind of section where it can line up and troops can get on and off. So look out for that video in the future, and subscribe to the channel, and please do give this video a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!